There's a melancholy in some of these pieces, a sort of pleasure in it, and a play with the keys that are never quite as obvious as our modern major and minor. There are modal colours going on, there are sharps against flats, false relations. There's a biting sadness in some of them, but also a great joy. And these pieces, above all, are enormously joyful and pleasurable to sing. English madrigals are so out of fashion, and they were so in fashion for hundreds of years. In England, we never stopped singing English madrigals, but this connection with sort of fala, whoops, go my hose. But this is some of our greatest English heritage for music. The madrigals by John Wilbye, Draw on Sweet Night, Weep, Weep Mine Eyes, Sweet Honeysucking Bees, and these are classic pieces.
What is great about this music for the soprano is that it sits really nicely within our range, and so it's Grace and I sharing the two soprano lines, but you take it in turns and echo each other. And we came away yesterday after 6 hours and actually felt quite fresh. So it's a real pleasure to sing.
The whole thing is an unexpected delight for me. I was not expecting to enjoy it nearly so much. I thought it was going to be just a bit too simple to be interested in, and it's been quite the reverse. Great fun.
This music for me represents sort of the height of one per part early 17th century English consort sort of singing. For me, that's a very strong image sort of in my mind of a group of friends, all individuals and all artists, and working together. Very much kind of chamber music, one per part, like exactly what we do.
Wilbye wasn't really London-based. He occasionally came into London. The Kitson family that he worked for at Hengrave Hall near Bury St Edmunds had a London house on Austin Friars, and he was sometimes there. He was negotiating for the publication of Dowland's second book of Airs, but mostly he stayed out of it, but near Bury St Edmunds, and worked as a faithful retainer, as a musician. They had great amounts of musical instruments and printed music, and eventually he seems to have turned into a sheep farmer. He was granted quite a lucrative sheep farm, and that's it. 2 books of madrigals, 2 points on the horizon around which we have to invent everything else. Back in 2015, we worked with Tony Britton and Capriel Films on a project called Draw on Sweet Night, which was a film, a sort of fantasy about Wilby's life, still available. Draw on Sweet Night, about the loves in his life, potentially. Why did he dedicate this second book to Arabella Stewart, this fated lady, died only a few years later? Highly cultured woman. Who was Lady Rivers? Mary Darcy, whose house he ended up living in for the last few years of his life. Was there something going on there? Was she an inspiration? As so often, we just don't know. We can follow the money, who was paid to do what, but there's so much we just don't know. But what music? This is only I Fagiolini's second recording of English madrigals in 35 years. Why is that? Because I suppose I've been so wound up in the world of the Italians, but goodness me, what pieces. We recorded the Triumphs of Oriana for Chandos back in 2000 and something, but always sitting there when I was at university being taught by John Milsom, who's writing the sleeve notes for this. He and I had this passion for Wilby's madrigals, especially the second book, and I've no idea why it's taken so long, but here we are 35 years in with this extraordinary group of singers. Goodness me, it's absolutely breathtaking to listen to the control they have and the interest they have in words. It's very easy as a group to say, oh, we're very interested in words, but I wonder how many singers will inflect their lines so that they're doing the work that the composer can't do, that subtle colouring and shading of words to make real sense of the poetry. Though this is fundamentally English, you feel about this sort of repertoire, actually it's not. There's a mix of the Italian passion and the English plangency, the major minor, the bitterness, the melancholy, and it's that combination, the sopranos in thirds, the Italian drama that actually drives these pieces forwards and makes them so special.